go see what we got here. Let's go back to my project in the backyard here. But first, we're going to test a couple machines out. Right? I'll go like this. I'm going to test the Anfibio. Test the Anfibio, Deus, and the MXT All Pro. This is one of my first sheets I made. I wanted to condition it and stain it on the back side here, so I took it apart. A lot different, huh? Thinner leather. Actually, this is the thicker leather. But, I'll take my glove off here. Let's test out these three machines. I have the Anfibio with the 9-inch concentric on it, the MXT All Pro with the 9-inch concentric on it, and the Deus with the 9-inch double D coil on it. Let's start out with the coil that I least prefer on this machine. But it does perform very well. I'll show you. I'll show you the reasons why I don't prefer it. I really don't prefer this machine either because it's so heavy, really clunky. It's got a big weak point right there. It's got a weak point right here and right there. And the trigger's a weak point. This handle right here is can break. I got a screw coming out. Actually, it already did come out here. It's so, you know, these machines aren't built very great. You know, they have a lot of weak points in them, but they perform well. You know, I want them in ground balance. I got a nickel at 5 inches deep right there in the iron, right? All ground balance. I'll turn my gain up to 9. Well, 0 discrimination. Prepare. This is the reason why I don't prefer this machine, because the iron is so freaking loud on here. It's really fatiguing after working for a few hours with this detector. That iron volume is just... That's a little bit of foil underneath that tile there. But here is... five-inch deep nickel. Here's a 6-inch deep cord right here. In the iron, right? Look at the numbers. 80s, 80s, 80s. 80s, 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 80s. Banging it tough, right? All the other coils on this machine do not perform like this in my test garden here with all this iron. And this is a heavy machine. The iron is really loud, but it's a good performance machine. It's a high-end machine. Back then, you know, when they were still selling them. But I don't prefer this coil because it's so unbalanced, because the coil ears are so far back on this coil here, right? And it puts a lot of strain on this coil. This coil's, you know, puts a lot of strain on this part, the end of this shaft right here, the lower shaft. I've broken several of these on these machines, these older machines. This coil actually performs better than most of my other high-end machines. The Deus, the Equinox, the Anfibio, maybe the Anfibio does a little bit better. The Simplex, it doesn't do better. The Simplex smacks its coin out big time. And even the Equinox struggles on that target and that target right there in all this iron, right? Another reason why I don't like this machine is it falses a lot on stuff in iron, right? There's a little bit of foil right here on the surface, right there in the center of the coil. It's hard, very difficult to pinpoint lower conducted targets with this machine. I'll just go through this iron, and there's another 3-inch deep dime right there in the iron. A lot of iron in that hole. I'll put it in relic mode. Right here. Too much iron, see? Something's already going on here. Like this machine here, I don't know what's going on here. Might be my cam lock or something. I don't know what's happening to it. It's just wobbling all around. I have a lot of thousands of hours on this machine, right? Iron ID on. That's that 6-inch deep quarter in the iron, right? 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s, solid target. But listen to how loud it is, right? Extremely loud. Here's that nickel. It's an older machine, so you don't have any iron control, any iron volume control, right? And when it overloads, it's really scary, man. It's super, super loud. And here's another coil that I really like on the Equinox, because that nickel there is a fairly clean target, and there's not too much iron right above it, but there's iron all around it. That quarter right there, I don't know how much iron is in any of these holes here. I just buried some targets there just in random spots. But a lot of machines struggle on that. The Simplex struggles on it, actually. And the Equinox struggles on these targets big time. Big time. 3-tone, gain at 89. Struggling. I'll turn my volume up so you can hear it. Too loud. Now come over this iron here, right? Here's that dime, or that quarter, 6 inches deep. Spanking it out. This coil does the best out of any machine I have right here, right? But the other coils on this machine, they don't perform very well in this test garden here, right? This is the only coil that I can get to perform well in the iron, right? Like this one. This is the one that performs the best. I mean, the Equinox, the Simplex, the Deus, the MX Sport, they all struggle on this target right here. But this coil just seems to hit it really good. But you see that nickel, right? It's struggling on that nickel. So we'll go through all this iron here, right? It's running fairly stable at 89. That's that dime at 3 inches deep right here, watch it. Now I'll put in 4-tone and show you. Gain 70 right here, right? Overload on the foil there, see that? Right? Overload, right? At stock, on the stock settings, right? Overloading on some foil right underneath that piece of tile there. Just a 4-tone is just super erratic, man. You just get a lot of pulses on iron, man. It does hit this coin though. 5 inches deep in the iron. Look at how much it's pulsing here, right? But once you hit that target, it comes out pretty nice. 4-tone. But I don't want to hear all that other stuff, you know, because I'm investigating all those square head nails, all those nails from the square heads in this area, right? So I'm investigating a lot of junk. You know, I'm having to rotate around these targets that it's pulsing on, you know, because it's pulsing on all the heads of the nails, right? And 4-tone, I'll come over here. I'm overloading, right? So I have to dial it back. So my recovery speed is also going down when I'm dropping my gain down, because it's right on the verge of overloading on some nails there, right? Just right on the verge of overloading, right? Have to swing really slow to hit this one in 4-tone. But it hits it really, really good. But I'll go with this other iron here, right? All this other iron here is pulsing on the iron, because there's so much iron in there. 4-tone is just not, just doesn't do my soil. I have a lot of minerals in my soil, hot soil, right? Now I'll turn the Deus on, and the Deus has a double D coil, so it struggles a little bit more in this concentration of iron here. And if the Deus had a concentric coil, that would be awesome, man. So I'm in my regular settings here. Pitch program, if I'm hunting in the iron. Actually, I'll go to my full tones program. It's already ground balanced for my area here, so. And Anfibio is a heavy machine, just like the MXT All Pro. This machine is super light, right? Now I'll go with this iron here, right? No pulses on the iron heads of the nails there, right? And it's not hitting that quarter at 6 inches deep. It's hitting it a little teeny bit, but it's just not coming out very good. This is my normal settings, you know, this is my program that I normally use. It's just not hitting that, right? The X35 coils do not perform in my soil. They just, there's too many minerals in my soil to run that low of frequencies. Those machines work really good, but they have been designed, you know, those are high-end machines. This is also a high-end machine, but this thing thrives in the iron. This is my full tone program, right? Pulsing a little bit on the nail there. But with the Deus, I don't have to turn as much, right? I can just give it a little wobble like that, and I know it's iron. With the other machines, I have to rotate on it quite a bit to realize that that's just a nail. Now I'll come over this. I lost it there for a second, but I'll just put it in my pitch tones here, right? I'll put in my pitch tones. I'm discriminated 22 here, right? I'll show you my discrimination. 22 is my discrimination in the pitch tones. Both these are deep programs, based on the deep programs, and I have it in 31 kilohertz frequency right here. I can probably bump it up to 54. It might do a little bit better here. That's what I usually run this pitch program at, 31 kilohertz frequency, because it operates a little bit, pitch tones operates a little bit differently. You get some different EMI, and it's a different depth, right? Pitch tones, you're not really trying to go super deep. But I'll go with this iron here, right? A little bit of foil there. There's that piece of foil right there. Right on the surface, I can pinpoint it. Super easy, right? All this other iron, right? Just a bunch of iron. I'm not getting any targets there, right? I can even be swinging fast here. There's that quarter at 6 inches deep. Still struggling on it, 54 kilohertz in pitch tones. It's still hitting it a little teeny bit, not very good though. Five-inch deep nickel right here. And with frequencies, you know, let's talk about the frequencies a little bit. The reason why I use the white coils in my soil is because it can get through the harsh minerals in my ground, right? And with these machines here, you can't really tell if your machine is struggling because they're at one frequency. If you're able, the Anfibio is a multi-frequency machine, but it's not really a broad range like that one right there. And I want to get as high as I can. But with the higher frequencies, you're going to sacrifice some depth. You know, if you're running at higher frequencies, you're using less power. You know, that coil actually lasts like 10 hours longer than the black coils too. So I want to get 2 days out of detecting out of my units there. The Deus doesn't last 2 days. You know, the actual remote control does not keep a charge for 2 days of detecting. Those other machines, the Anfibio and the MXT All Pro, it'll last 2 days, you know, no matter what you're doing. But in the lower frequency coils, the X35 coils, you're also using a lot more power. And the X35 coils do have a TX boost, so you can boost a little bit higher, but I don't want to boost, you know. The more I boost a machine, I can't really use it, you know, like the Equinox or the Anfibio. You saw that when I put in 4-tone, it's higher power, you know. You're running at higher power, and the higher power that you're using, you're going to see a lot more on the ground. And if there's this much iron, or if there's a lot of minerals in the ground, they just don't perform, right? So you have to have a machine that you can dial in. The MXT All Pro, you can dial it in a little bit, but you're just going to hear that iron. That iron's going to be very loud in the background. There's just no way to smooth that iron tone out. And when you get overloads, it's really loud. You just get 10 or 12 iron overloads on the MXT All Pro, and you're pretty much done for the day. You know, you're fatigued because it's like in your ear, right? But the reason why I like the Deus is because it's lightweight, and I can swing it around for a long time, a lot of hours, 12 hours a day. The Anfibio, my arm starts aching after about 6 hours of swinging, you know, especially with the larger coils on it. But that coil there, the 9-inch concentric coil, can really get through the trash. Even the 7-inch coil actually performs almost the same on all 3 of those targets, and it does better than the simplex with the concentric coil, because a lot of that iron is at the same plane. The quarter there has just a little bit of iron on the surface. That's why and it's really close to the center of that target there. With that dime down there, there's lots of iron all throughout the whole plane of the depth in that target there. That's why the Deus was hitting it really hard. The Anfibio is doing really good with that concentric coil, but I can bring out all my other coils. I have 6 other coils for that Anfibio, and none of them can do what that 9-inch coil can do. The 7-inch is almost comparable, but that coil on the Anfibio does better than pretty much all my machines. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.